we would like to first and foremost thank our sponsors who make this event possible. UBS and specifically Langley Respis has been a terrific supporter of this event, as has Aventus Systems and Tech CFO. So thank you to our TAG ATDC Entrepreneur sponsors for your assistance. Venture Atlanta is one of the more exciting developments, I think, in the entrepreneurial space in Atlanta in a long time. And Allison Eman, as the director, has really taken what started out as a concept between Nora Mosley, TAG, the Atlanta CEO Council, and the Metro Atlanta Chamber of Commerce, with help from a lot of sponsors. Of course, Nora Mosley is one. And this is now in its third year. We're really excited about what Venture Atlanta 2010 is going to bring, and I'm going to turn it over to Allison to tell you more about it. I do want to remind the entrepreneurs specifically in the room that we do a roundtable. Actually, ATDC does a roundtable following each one of these events that, again, is specific for the entrepreneurs. So if you are an entrepreneur and are interested in participating in this, we get tremendous feedback that is a very valuable aspect of the program. Please stick around afterwards and we'll guide you to where we're going to be conducting those. Those are typically on the second floor. So again, I'm going to turn it over to Allison, the Executive Director of Venture Atlanta. Thank you.
Thank you, Melanie. Can everyone hear me okay? Okay, there's nothing wrong with the front row if anyone wants to sit in the front row. I don't know why no one ever sits up there. As Melanie said, I'm Allison Eman. I'm the Executive Director of Venture Atlanta. And Venture Atlanta is excited to be a part of the ATDC TAG Entrepreneur Society meeting this month. Venture Atlanta is an annual conference held each October, so we've never done anything like this, having kind of a kickoff event. So we're very excited to be here today. But I wanted to kind of just take a quick step back and tell you guys a little bit more about Venture Atlanta. Venture Atlanta is the largest venture capital conference in Georgia. So it was formed 3 years ago by the Atlanta CEO Council, the Metro Atlanta Chamber, and the Technology Association of Georgia. And I was hired in late 2007 to kind of put it all together. As Melanie said, kind of bring the idea. They kind of had a logo, and that was about it. So it was, bring it all together. But the goal is to connect companies like you all with capital. So it's to give you exposure, to increase awareness, and to help you make the right connections to the right audience. So this year's event, you guys can mark your calendars now, is October 12th and 13th at the Georgia Aquarium. So we're real pleased to be going to the aquarium this year. So just a few notes for our entrepreneurs. We'll be kind of officially kicking off our call for companies in April, and it'll run through mid-August. What does that mean? That means in that time period, or really now, there's an application on our website now, which is ventureatlanta.org. You can go online and fill out a real quick summary. Real quick application, name, company, kind of a couple questions. And the key is to upload your executive summary. And there's a template online. We want a 2-page PDF file, okay? We don't want a 30-slide PowerPoint deck. If you guys send it to me and you think it's awesome and it's so pretty, I'm going to send it right back. So don't bother. Basically simplicity, consistency. We want our selection committee to go through the information, to be able to see the key points, and to be able to choose the right companies for Venture Atlanta. So after we get all our applicants in, and just as some information, last year we had well over 150 companies apply. So there was a lot of companies on the table to go through, and Susan and Dale and David Calhoun and Glenn and Sean, who will be here this morning on our panel, they read them all. So there's a lot of information to go through. Then we take 20 companies, we select 20 companies who we feel would be the best representations in Georgia, and we put them on the stage to present at Venture Atlanta for 6 minutes. And someone asked me, what's the criteria for Venture Atlanta? You must be headquartered in Georgia, and you must be a technology company, and you must be looking to raise capital. So we want you to be looking to grow. We want you to have customers. I'm not telling you anything that's mind-boggling here. If you're not selected for the stage, we also have something that we worked real closely with ATDC the last couple of years, which was our early stage showcase. We had 25 companies that participated in that. And that, instead of getting on the stage, you basically get a table, and it was part of our cocktail party. And you get to interact with everyone at our cocktail party. It was a great event last year. Again, worked real closely with Stephen and David Sung and Mary Leary and the group over at ATDC and Lance. So we're real pleased to have their involvement in Venture Atlanta. So if you don't get selected for either of these groups, what do? You still come. you still come to Venture Atlanta. Why do you still come? Because we offer you a $250 price to come, which is a half price ticket, and you're making an investment in your company and in you. Think about that. Everyone that you need to work with, everyone that you want to talk to, whether it be a CPA firm, a lawyer, a fellow entrepreneur, a company that may potentially buy your company, is in that room. I was at a CEO Council event and someone said, I love going to Venture Atlanta. Every person I want to have lunch with is there at one time. So, quote. So anyway, make sure you guys come. Just going to wrap up real quick. Gregg and Jamie and Todd were presenters from last year. They're going to give you their pitches. They're going to give you real quick about Venture Atlanta, and then we're going to go right into our panel. Dale Kirkland will be our moderator, and then we'll have Susan O'Dwyer, David Calhoun, Glenn McGonigal, and Sean Banks participating. And we've got a tight agenda, and I'm talking more than I should. So we're going to go as quick as we can. But I just want to take 1 second and acknowledge our sponsors, because we are a nonprofit and Venture Atlanta cannot be put together without our sponsors. So I want to thank, obviously, the CEO Council and the Metro Atlanta Chamber and TAG for being our founding partners, but also for the strong support we've had from Morris Manning and Martin and Haba Farragetti and Wynn, Tech Operators, Total Technology Ventures, Porter Cadle Moore, TriNet, which is one of our newest sponsors, and many others. So thank you for your support. And I'm going to turn it over to Gregg. So come on up, and I'm going to try to find your presentation. Which is on here somewhere.
I know I'm not going to get extra
Melanie,
time.
can you put it on here? Do you know how to get out of this? Hang on.
Well, I could start by thanking Allison. She had the daunting task of herding, I don't know how many entrepreneurs, 40, 50?
Last year, over 50.
50 entrepreneurs into a common format and a common place at the same time, which was not an easy task, and she did a great job. While Allison finds out, I could talk briefly about my experience as a presenter. I've been in Atlanta now for 15 years, running technology companies. Had 3 companies from the ground up, so I've done quite a number of venture capital rounds. I think it's something like 10 or 11. I've enjoyed some great success, but as I talk to the local investment community here, it's been a consistent issue of how do we get the type of early stage investment into this market that you see in places like Silicon Valley, in Boston and New York, where those seed markets and those first round capital markets are so vibrant. So I was incredibly pleasantly surprised, not only at the diversity of investors that were at this show, but some of the familiar faces that I saw from just blue chip firms from the West Coast, from Manhattan, from Boston, which, believe it or not, until the last couple of years, there's the deal here, the deal there, but we really haven't enjoyed the type of deal flow in the Atlanta market from these types of firms. So, I would strongly encourage any of you that are thinking about applying or participating. It's here, it's in our backyard. It's a really good format to start these conversations. In today's world, you need to start a lot of conversations if you're going to get funded, because it's an incredibly difficult market. We did actually close some interim financing from this round, but I think perhaps more importantly is we've started a lot of conversations that I'm sure will be productive as we get from where we are now to either a public company or a company that's sold for an attractive return. With that, I'm going to take my last 4.5 minutes and run you through Vertical Acuity. Real quick, companies 2 years old, very capital efficient company, raised about $1.5 million total to date. We are going to be raising somewhere between 3 to 5, most likely late summer, early fall. We are tackling a very pronounced and easy to understand issue on the internet. I like to call it ungoogling part of the internet. I'm going to run through a piece of the deck that we're using with our customers, which are some of the largest publishers in the world. The problem that we have is the proliferation of content. This will continue to get worse and worse. Not only that, there's a huge fragmentation of content. So not only is there a lot of it, but you're going to a lot more places to find it. So you're not going to CNN or MyYahoo to do your discovery. Rather, you're doing this. And this is what I call the Yahoo bounce. This is what's happened in the last 3 years is Google has become the universal joint of content discovery. Whereas you used to go to Sports Illustrated to find about Tiger Woods, and your expectation was to look around, to do a little bit of search and navigation. Today you're starting at Google, you're going into a site, not to a site, but into it. Page 32, right-hand column, where your match is exactly with Google. Your expectation is now that everything you could possibly imagine is there, depth and breadth. And when it's not, you hit the back button. go back to your results page, and you repeat the process with various places. This has completely dislocated and disrupted the entire publishing business model because you're no longer using or consuming the content in a way in which they've laid it out, which causes some problems for most of our customers. When someone comes in and only spends 5 to 6 clicks instead of 16 to 18 clicks, and you're not controlling that display of content, that real estate's not nearly as interesting for advertisers, causing a major disruption in the model and a major dislocation between the cost of creating content and how much you can monetize it for. So this is what the publishing world has done. They do syndication, links, deals. None of these are going to actually scale. What does scale is actually a brand new infrastructure on the internet which allows a publisher, in this case Time, to get the highest quality and most relevant content from other sites that have already produced it without having to do a deal with every single potential source of content in the market. Likewise, if you are Time, you spend a lot of money creating your own property, your own personality. You have your own content. You can no longer afford to only monetize that content on your own site. So that content has to be syndicated out to others, and you need to be paid for that. That's what we do. We're building a new platform that lets content route between publishers, between websites that contain similar content. So when you're on a site, we've built an analytics engine which can very quickly and easily determine there's 1,000 other people like you. You're most likely to be interested if you're looking at this Tiger Mistress 8 article and the fact that he just announced that he's going to be playing at the Masters. We moved that article from Sports Illustrated over to ESPN where you happen to be browsing. It is good for the publisher, it's good for the consumer, and it's good for the advertisers. So we're basically ungoogling a little piece of the web, and the way that we do it is we actually scrape the content from all of our member sites, we normalize it, and then we actually publish it in real time where the customer happens to exist. When you do this, you create some really interesting changes in paradigm. I don't have a clock in front of me like I used to. So you'll let me know? Okay. Some really interesting changes. When you're looking at the world from a topic perspective, a subject perspective, in this case Tiger Woods, let's say, and you're looking across many different sites because we're building a network of content sites, you're now able to talk to advertisers about subjects and topics instead of websites. So if Puma wants to advertise against Tiger Woods with their Runaway, Don't Do It campaign, instead of advertising on all of Sports Illustrated, where there's lots of topics, you can actually catch the Tiger articles as they move around the internet and place your advertising on just that one topic. The content and the advertising is then syndicated to all the customers that are interested in that topic. This creates a zero-waste advertising product, something which just has never existed before. It was talked about a long time ago by a guy named P. Hong who started Broadvision, but it never happened. So by looking at a fundamentally new way to move content around, we also have uncovered a fundamentally new way to create additional value and restore the value of content and restore a bit of the economics for the advertisers as well. So our customers are publishers, and we shift economics away from the aggregators and the search engines, which is good for everyone but the Huffington Post. We've been doing this for a while. The team has, I have about 7 patents in this field from the last 15 years. The last company I was running was called Proficient Systems, where we literally invented this vertical data mining process. A company before that was called Vertical One, where we literally invented the screen scraping process of actually taking content from multiple sites and moving it around. So we have a very experienced team, a very new model, but we're having a lot of fun doing it, and we're still looking for money. So if any of you guys out there aren't entrepreneurs, I think that's it. Enjoyed the revolution. I think I kind of landed right there on time.
You did good.
There we go. Thanks again, Allison.
Just like